Hey dudes, and welcome to the Leftover Culture Review, and welcome to an incredibly special Christmas episode, because I'm gonna help you out. See, I've got a bit of a confession. I'm a little bit worried that I won't get onto the nice list this year. See, Santa Claus sees everything, and I let my Tamagotchi die a cold, brutal death. So, I devised a very clever plan to get myself onto the nice list permanently, and I'm going to show you how. But it's Christmas, hence the hat, obviously. So we're also going to talk about some really fun party games that you can bust out this Christmas and take a crack at redesigning some bad box art. So stay tuned, and thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Christmas here with me. Let's hit it. So this time of year is the perfect time to bust out my Christmas themed Sega Saturn. Actually, I call it Christmas themed because of the box, but essentially it is just a regular Japanese Sega Saturn console. But I do enjoy getting the chance to explore a little bit of the library at this time of year. So what better way to kick off a Christmas celebration than with a banging soundtrack? Let's check out Jung Rhythm, a Japanese exclusive from Atlas, the same people that brought us Mighty Hits, the toy-filled non-violent light gun game on the Saturn, and you might start seeing a little bit of a pattern here. So, Jung Rhythm is a dance and rhythm game,
We'll make a cake today that looks rich.
following the daily life of the main... Actually, hold on a second. This is the wrong game. Alright, this is Jung Rhythm. It's a dance and rhythm game with a hell of a story. Actually, the story's just fine. You're a schoolgirl and you need to navigate getting ready in the morning, dealing with the school bully, getting through your classes, and doing it all with your amazing dance routine. Before you make your way to the coolest concert of the century, Choking. Choking. It's a bit of a weird name, but this game is quirky. That's actually one of the reasons I keep coming back. And the music is catchy as hell. It's like the kind that unexpectedly just gets stuck in your head and stays there. What's even better is that you can slam the disc into a CD player and crank the soundtrack. A quick fun fact, if you do pop this into a CD player or a computer, the disc is actually called Jungle Rhythm. I'm not sure what that has to do with choking and a bunch of Japanese schoolgirls going to a concert, but yeah. When it comes to actually playing the game, the trick is not getting too stuck on the exact timing. You don't have to be perfect, and usually the harder I try, the worse I do. It's important just to take it easy, enjoy the tracks, and try and find the rhythm. And if you do need to entertain some younger relatives on Christmas, this game also supports 2 players, so you can try out a few tracks and everyone can get frustrated and annoyed together. I give this game a rating of pretty okay. But worse if you're playing it on mute.
Australia, where at Christmas time there's the usual nip in the air, so everyone wraps up against the weather in their Bermuda shorts and sandals.
Still no snow, then.
They've captured my true essence and manifested it in noodle form.
A couple of Christmases ago, I got the Game Boy camera. At the time it was released in 1997, this was the smallest digital camera available, which is going to be perfect for us because we had a secret covert operation to undertake, And because it's attached to the Game Boy and uses the Game Boy power, it is absolutely pocket-sized and kind of hard to detect. And the Game Boy camera is loaded with mini games that you can play using your photos, as well as a photo editor. It's a pretty wild experience, perfect to play in the car when mum drives you to the mall to get your Santa photos done. So once we got to the mall, I managed to ditch my mum in the candle section, hide behind a pot plant, and I made a beeline for the Santa cottage. Going around the back, I quickly checked to make sure that I wasn't being followed, and then I hid in the Santa sack and waited for my chance. And you'll be able to check out the results at the end of this video.
You're asleep.
Finally. Just gonna load this CD. They're gonna love this.
This is Night Trap, a sort of game and interactive movie all rolled into one.
But wait a minute! Hang on! Hold your reindeers, I hear some of you squeak.
Beef and pork toppings, onions, even green peppers.
I'll finish my list for Santa later.
One of the games I love busting out at this very holy time of year is Hard Trilogy. Fantastic Christmas movies, they really encapsulate the chaos and the terror and the absolute brutal shopping season that is Christmas. But the game, Hard Trilogy, packages all three of those movies into three different games right here on one disc. You get to storm Nakatomi Plaza, killing terrorists, disabling bombs, and saving hostages, as well as go to the airport during Christmas in all the chaos and kill terrorists there. Or hit the mean streets and disable bombs in a city. So there is a hell of a lot happening, but the cover just doesn't really do it justice. We have Die Hard written in big red letters, and the word trilogy with an explosion behind it. So it's very clear what this game is. It's a Die Hard game, but I just feel like with so much happening on this game, we could give it a little bit of love. As you dudes might already know, I made a blood pact with my dad at the breakfast table to redesign 5,000 video game covers. And using a program called Adobe Dimensions from 1997, I have been creating high impact, glorious box art. Or at least I made one so far. Check out the Halloween episode. So once we have Adobe Dimensions open, I'm going to go ahead and make 3 bullets, which I'm really just making one and copying and pasting. A really simple shape, which works well for this program. Essentially what it lets us do is take 2D shapes and extrude or bevel or turn them into 3D shapes really. So we're going to build out our bullets. Really just a cylinder with a ball on top and a little ledge at the bottom. The gun is where it starts getting a little bit more tricky because I'm going to have to start building out a few different pieces to fit together to make it feel like a gun. And I'm not going for photo accuracy here. It's not going to be the most realistic looking gun ever, but I think it's a pretty close approximation. And this is software from 1997, so around the time that Die Hard would have been released. So with the gun and the bullets looking 3D, I'm going to start rotating them just to really hammer home the point that this is a 3D graphic. So once we take these pieces into Photoshop, we can start adding some textures, we can make it feel grungy, and we can play around with some, again, they're paper textures, but just with the brightness and the contrast maxed out to make them feel really grainy. And I think I really love the outcome of this. It's not as massive and bombastic as I originally anticipated. It still is a very simple cover, but I think it just gives a little bit more life to that Die Hard Trilogy cover. I also decided to make it blue, just to add a bit of contrast to the red one. Another thing that I really wanted to accomplish with this cover was putting the word trilogy underneath the words Die Hard instead of breaking it up. And having those 3 bullets there just to hammer home the point that this is a trilogy, there's 3 different games, I think that should be like a real selling point of this disc. It was a really unique way to approach a movie franchise as a video game, just bundling all these different gameplay types together. It's a really cool game. I hope you guys have a chance to check it out this Christmas, and let me know what you think of the cover redesign. And if you wanted to tackle one for yourself, make sure that you tag me in it. I'll leave my handles if you do want to tag me down below.
Now, you might think of Tetris as a really sad and lonely one-player game.
Oh, hey, I know you're just kidding.
That's just some of the things you can do with sound.
I think I'm melting.
New 300 megahertz multimedia PC, Windows 98, browser software.
Ice is dangerous for all the old people.
So, in keeping in the spirit of checking out a few Sega Saturn games on my Christmas-themed Japanese Saturn, let's see this Christmas out with a bang. This is an exclusive to the Sega Saturn, and it wasn't released outside Japan. We have Bomberman Fight. I've only got the demo disc here, but it does give you a great look at what a really good 3D Bomberman game looks like. They broke the formula. You get a life bar, a smaller stage to fight it out in, and all the carnage you could want. So Bomberman Fight came out a month after Bomberman 64, and obviously the Nintendo 64 is a pretty serious piece of hardware, but I just love how arcade feeling Bomberman Fight is. They didn't mess around with the original formula too much, even though I just said they broke the formula, but I feel like they really did their best to enhance what was already there. It does feel different, but it's still incredibly frantic, and you feel locked into these really small stages. Of course, being a Bomberman game, multiplayer is where it's at, and this game has a whole bunch of characters that I hadn't seen before this game, as well as a whole bunch of different stages and heaps of different power-ups to try out. The only thing I'm missing is some friends to play with. So if you've got some friends and a copy of Bomberman Fight, let me know how it is. I would love to hear from you. Anyway, I'm going to give this game top marks. It would score higher if I had friends, but I'm not going to hold that against such an awesome title for the Sega Saturn. And knowing it's an exclusive, only released in Japan, if you have a chance to play it, I really recommend it. Friends or no friends. So dudes, as promised, we have some deliciously incriminating photos of Santa Claus captured from my secure position within the Santa sack. We have got Santa mercilessly punching a child, destroying a Christmas tree, and kinda weirdly inserting bits of tinsel into the top of an empty bottle to create some kind of weird festive Molotov cocktail. So we've got plenty of material that, if you wanted to, I'm not saying you should, but you absolutely could, leave one of those photos in your letter to Santa to let him know that you're not mucking around anymore. You mean business. It's been a long year, and I think you dudes deserve the absolute best. So if this helps you get whatever is on your wish list, be my guest. You are so welcome, and thank you. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of your Christmas here with me on the Leftover Culture Review. If you do want a little bit more festive cheer in your, YouTube playlist, there are a whole bunch of Christmas videos right here on the channel.
Ho, 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 Bruiser, I've been expecting you. I am your biggest fan.
Appreciate you dudes hanging out with me. And until next time, stay tuned for some more Leftover Culture. Cheers.